Hello, my name is Danny Krastik, and I am sitting down once again with a very, very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself for our listening and viewing audience, that would be awesome.
Hi, my name is Michael Xavier Reitzel. I'm here for Y2K and I play the role of Swinger.
What can you tell us about the movie's not yet out? It's coming out later this year. What can you tell us about the movie for those who don't know what it is yet?
It's basically, if anyone's ever watched This Is the End, it's basically that movie, but for like 20-year-olds. It's, it's about two young adults in high school. They're going to the last party before the new year. And once the clock strikes 12, all hell breaks loose.
Hmm. And then, what is your role in the film specifically? I know you said the name already, but what is where do you fit into the story of the film?
So in the big party that the whole beginning of the movie revolves around, there's a bunch of cliques from high school, like the jocks, the nerds, and one of the cliques, I guess back in the '90s was the swingers, which were uh, a weird group of kids who really liked swing music when there was a big resurgence back in the '90s, and
Really?
yeah, they wore like weird fancy clothes, sweaters, like fedoras, and all that type of stuff that you would see normally in the 60s. And there were five of us in the film, and I was with um, basically the right hand man of our like leader, so to speak, the guy who had the most lines in the film, I guess.
Very cool. Let's take a step back from the film itself for a second, and let's talk about you. What got you into acting?
Um, I've always wanted to be an actor when I was a young lad, but over the years, after a bunch of dead end jobs, I won't say which ones, but after doing all of that, I was like, I'm gonna do something I love, rather than because with inflation nowadays, people like you and me, we're scared we'll never be able to buy a house. So I was like, I might as well do
Getting
something.
existential here, I guess.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
made
Yeah.
you stop? Yeah, very cool. What other kinds of roles and stuff have you done before? What are your previous credits? Other film stuff, other if you've done any play work, like what other stuff have you done?
I've always wanted, I always wanted to get into theater and like plays and stuff, but I was immediately thrown into film and television. It was a bunch of short films, uh, especially from like the Montclair area. If you know Joe Bays, I was in one of his. Renzo is a good friend of mine. And then suddenly I was in a TV show called Mastermind of Murder. I had a pretty big part in one of the episodes, which was cool. And then it all kind of snowballed from there. And then somehow I got like by the biggest stroke of luck, I got into this film, which was great.
Well, that was gonna be my next question is how did you end up getting involved with this one?
So this is gonna be super weird and crazy, but I originally applied as like minor background, which is like the people who are like, if you pause right here, you can see the top of my head. And filming in New Jersey. I was not doing anything that day. I was like, I could make another $100, $200, whatever. I'll do it. I'll sign up. And after about a week or two, I got an email from the casting director, and she was saying, uh, "We don't want you to be minor background. We want you to be heavily featured, and possibly even have a few lines." And I was like, "Whoa, really?" And this is like after I was just doing short films, nothing really too substantial. And I agreed. And during the like the outfitting, I guess I'm having a brain fart, but like when we did a bunch of the outfitting for like the wardrobe and stuff, um, I ran into the same casting director again, and I was saying, "Why did you guys pick me out of all people to up it from minor background to heavily featured?" And she said, "Oh, it wasn't any of my doing. It was the executive producer."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Executive producer?
Wow.
Who's the executive producer?" And it was Jonah Hill. which was crazy. She told the story that apparently he had picked a select group of like 15 people out of like um a non-union pool of like 400 actors who had applied for minor background.
Wow.
I was like, what? This is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So then talking about your character in the film and the clique that you're involved in the film, what specifically, like, were there any specific like, where did you draw inspiration for, the outfitting, for how your character acts in the movie? Were there any specific things other than just the general movement, or yeah.
For the outfitting, they made me try on like it had to be close to 50 outfits. They had like this entire huge wardrobe, which was like in this old rundown factory, because I guess that's the A24 aesthetic or vibe or whatever, the rundown. But I tried on like these 50 outfits with different variations of polos, khaki pants, corduroy pants, all this other stuff. But eventually, when they sent all these pictures to the producer, he agreed that I had this like black polo with these chains that were printed right on the sides, kind of just like right over the nipples, but like starting from the shoulders down.
Hmm.
These tan corduroy pants, this nice hat that I wish I took from set, uh, and like these surprisingly really comfortable like ballroom like fancy black shoes, which was great. And but before we started shooting, they gave us the rundown of like how the characters should act. Like they shouldn't be like too cool. They're like these really nerdy kids who everybody really dislikes, but they think in their own mind that they're really cool.
Hmm.
So I was like, perfect. Shouldn't be too hard. This is me in real life. Okay, let's go. And during the scenes, the director would come up to me and he would, or one of the actors, and he would tell us what he wanted in terms of movement. There was a dance scene that'll be in the film, and there was a choreographer there, and she was basically saying, "You cannot do any of the modern dance movements. Like these are the moves that you should be doing." And there was this one shot that I won't get too much into, but it basically shows like every click in the house, and you know that was kind of like our moment to shine. And they made us do these like weird uh like swing dance movements, and she was like, yeah, you do this, and the rest of you, just do whatever. So yeah, that was fun.
Hmm. Now, yeah, I mean, you briefly touched on, the director Kyle Mooney, who, former SNL cast member. What was it like working with him?
It was brilliant. We had a few conversations. um I remember doing something in a scene, and I've you kind of get starstruck when you're in a room with these actors, and
Hmm.
you're trying so hard not to be a fan. And you see Kyle Mooney, and I've watched SNL for my entire life since I was a kid, and seeing him like walk across set, I was like, "Huh." But um, yeah, we had a few interactions. I did something good in a scene that he really liked, so he like cut and walked over to me, and he was like, "That was great, that was great." I'm like,
Wow.
he's talking to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was funny. And the whole time, the cast members, Kyle Mooney, everyone was just cracking jokes, busting each other's balls. It was probably the best experience I've had on a set, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, here's the follow question. Another one of the big names in the movie is Rachel Zegler, not only a Montclair area resident, but formerly enrolled in Montclair State University. Fun fact. And then West Side Story happened, and she had to not go to school to work with Spielberg instead. So was she? I don't know if you guys had any scenes together, but if you did, what was that experience like?
I filmed for like, I think I was on set for about a week,
Mhm.
because my role was kind of like less than day player, but above a featured extra, where it was kind of like a bit part, I guess. And for the first 3 days, all I saw where it was like Jaden Martell, Julian Dennison, those types of people. But on the fourth day, she was there, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, this is cool." Because um, I originally, when I first signed up for the film, Jenna Ortega was in place to be in the
Oh,
film,
really?
and I was like, "I love Jenna Ortega. Oh, she's been my childhood crush forever. I'm taking this film." But then she got swapped out with Rachel Zegler, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool too." But I had only like one brief like conversation with her. Um, it was interesting to say the least. Everyone was kind of on edge when we were filming because we were filming like a winter movie in the dead of summer. Everyone was wearing like sweaters and pants, and like it was like 102 degrees out.
Yeah, I imagine y'all were sweltering the entire time.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy. Yeah, but she was fun. All the cast members were fun, but she was interesting to say the least.
Very cool. Well, the movie doesn't release for a little bit. We got a couple months until it's released. In the meantime, what's next for you?
Um, I've been talking to my team, and we're just trying to do some short films. Like I know I met you on set officially
Hmm.
a few months back, and doing that, just building up the reel. I've been applying to a lot of bigger projects, which is good. Got a lot of big auditions. Um, None of them have materialized yet. I hope some do soon.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as an actor, what kind of tips do you have for other people that are trying to break in to the industry?
My biggest tip is treat it like a business because everybody always thinks that, I mean, and it's true, but everybody always thinks when you join in, like, you're immediately gonna get a role. It's gonna be super fun and artistic and freeing, and then you're gonna be in a big film and you're Rachel Zegler and that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Don't go to college. But like the biggest thing is, and I had this one acting teacher tell me this one time. She said, for a role, the casting director is trying to fill a job,
Hmm.
you know. And if someone knocked on your door and was like, "Please let me fix your roof. Please let me fix your roof. Please, 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 please," you'd be like, "I'm not hiring you." But like, you do your research, and the people who are confident enough to do a job for you, like I always use the example of fixing your roof, but you know, it's just the way that you market yourself. Your brand has to be there, and
Hmm.
you have to be marketable because and I've had conversations with my team of where they're like, your last name is too hard to say. You need you need to change your name. And I was like, oh, I like my name. So we decided to keep it because I guess they just wanted me to be branded differently, like old Hollywood like movie stars that had like generic last names that you could remember and be like, oh, but yeah.
Yeah. And then we have one more question for you. This is a question that all of us ask all of our guests that come on the show. Ready? You
Mhm.
ready? You hyped? You ready? You prepared?
I'm ready.
Favorite movie of all time? Go.
Favorite movie of all time? Uh, uh
This one's so funny because people either know it immediately and they're like, oh, it's this, or they have to take like 10 minutes to figure out what it is.
this is kind of like my letterbox moment
This
where
is your letterbox moment. Yep.
yeah,
Always ready your letterbox.
I've
Yep.
always tried to prepare myself for like the top four,
You gotta pick
but
one. Gotta pick one.
La Haine is the I think
Really?
yeah, I think it's the best movie of all time. It's definitely my favorite, because like
Interesting.
Vincent Castle is he's like amazing in that movie, and it just draws from realism. It's very artistic. It's very down to earth, but it's not boring to where you're like half paying attention. You know?
Fascinating. Very
Oh,
interesting.
absolutely.
Did you take any of Lahain with you when you made Y2K?
Yeah. um,
You don't have to say yes.
Not really. I think like just I think I took that movie with me to like every set where it's like you're a real person,
Mm,
and you just have to be like unapologetically yourself. And
yeah.
I guess that also dives into like the advice I'd give new actors. It's where you're just like be yourself, have fun. If you don't really want to do acting, but you just think it'll be fun, don't do acting because it's so
Mhm.
hard and it's so demeaning. Sometimes you have to have a really thick skin,
Mhm.
and even like low budget short films that you think, oh yeah, oh yeah, I nailed that audition. They're definitely going to say yes, and they're like, no, that kind of is just like you brush it off.
Yeah.
But for that movie specifically, it's just the realism that you bring into it.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Michael, for joining us today. Y2K comes out in December in its wide release. Well, it's A24, so we'll see how wide it gets, but its official US release is in December. Michael, best of luck with everything. Break some legs with future auditions and everything. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much, Danny. I appreciate it.
This has been Danny Krastik from Blue Flamingo Studios. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested, this is where you can check out some of our other content. Thank you very much for joining us today.